Ooh, the Until Dawn trailer is out. Yeah, so I figured that this was about how this was going to go. By the time this video actually goes up, I'm sure the ratio will be even worse. I knew that there was going to be an Until Dawn movie, and from the split second that I heard that, I thought, that sounds redundant. I mean, Until Dawn is a very cinematic game. It falls under what Quantic Dream Studios likes to refer to as an interactive drama, or in the case of Until Dawn, you would call it an interactive horror. It's extremely story and character heavy, and the main mechanic of the game is finding clues and making choices to survive. My next split second thought was, oh, is this a sequel to the game? Or maybe it's an adaptation, but they're changing some things? And then I found out that no one from the main cast was going to be in it except for Peter Stormare, and I went, oh, great. So new actors playing the original characters. Fun. That's going to go over wonderfully. And I would swear that's what was listed on IMDb for the longest time, but maybe I hallucinated that because as of this recording, all of the actors are listed as playing new characters, except for Peter Stormare, who is still listed as Dr. Hill. And then I forgot about the movie because the remake finally came out and I played it, and the remake very deliberately seems to be opening the door to a sequel, and I was super excited for that. And then the trailer for the movie dropped. So I tried to record an off-the-cuff reaction to it, but I'm not very good at those. It's one thing when I'm playing a video game and I'm just giving a surface-level reaction to what's happening on screen, but I'm not good at being smart or analyzing things on the fly, so I've typed up some notes to organize my thoughts. Alright, so let's get into this.
I'm looking for my sister.
So, the first thing that stands out to me, not wintertime. I know this seems like a nitpick, but one of the biggest aesthetics of Until Dawn is the ice and the cold. It's a freezing dark mountain at night. The imagery is very much a key part of how people remember this game, and yet the filmmakers thought it would be a good idea to film this in what's very likely summer, which is more the quarry's seasonal aesthetic. The next thing that stood out to me, and again, this might just be a nitpick, but the cast seems very one note to me visually. They just kind of turn into one amorphous blob of modern young adult. One thing about the original cast of the game is that they are very easy to tell apart because each has a very distinct style. The clothing choices for the characters were fairly unique. Each one was visually distinguishable from another, despite everyone wearing winter clothing. Emily is very stylish with that black jacket with the fur lining. Ashley has her beanie with her hair hanging loose underneath it. Jess has her braids and a bit of stomach showing. And Sam wears a towel. It just occurred to me that not a single one of the girls in this trailer is probably going to end up escaping a madman wearing the world's best secured towel, and that's probably the biggest slap in the face that this movie could ever give the game. I could go into the male characters' outfits, but I think you get my point. It may not stand out when you initially play the game, but when you compare the pictures side by side with the cast for the movie and the cast for the game, the movie cast styling just comes across as bland and uninspired. The next scene in the trailer had me rolling my eyes.
Does she look familiar to you?
She's gone missing.
I didn't say that. Do a lot of people go missing around here?
Okay, girly, you walked up to the clerk, showed him a picture of your sister, asking if she looked familiar. A natural conclusion that the average person could very easily draw is that you are looking for her, which might cause one to conclude that she is missing. That bit came across as incredibly stupid, and I sincerely hope it was just cut weird. Next observation is the location. We're doing a house instead of a lodge, which is kind of disappointing considering that the lodge was a central location not just in Until Dawn, but also the quarry as well. It seems like it's a theme that the game makers were keeping between the two games. From there, the actual plot of the movie is revealed, which can be summed up as this. Group of friends goes looking for the main character's sister. They go to a weird house in the woods, find a bunch of missing posters on the wall, and get attacked by a killer. Upon dying, they wake up again to find that time is reset and they need to survive until dawn. My observation, this is literally the plot of Happy Death Day, right down to the you can only die so many times before it's game over, no pun intended. Now, I don't object to that. The Happy Death Day movies are themselves a parody of Groundhog Day, so it's not like they own the concept to this, but the movie is called Until Dawn, and it is based off of a game where that is not part of the plot or a game mechanic. I could argue that the filmmakers are invoking the player experience here. We all replay the game to try and keep the characters alive, or kill them off. There's a trophy for that too. But that still just seems like a weird choice for this movie, especially since it's already taken several off-ramps and is just barreling further and further away from the game. And I mean, maybe that was deliberate? I don't know. Maybe they figured they were already going off the rails, so just keep going. Also notice the fact that there are multiple threats coming for the protagonists here. And Until Dawn, there's the Wendigo and the Killer. That's it. Now apparently we're going full cabin in the woods and just throwing a variety of monsters at the protagonists to kill them. And I'm sorry, but I need help here. Why do I recognize this bathroom? What other movie, what other video game have I seen this bathroom in? Is it a TV show maybe? Because I swear that I have seen this bathroom before somewhere and it is driving me crazy.
If we want to survive, we have to make it until dawn.
That was not the best delivery we could have gotten for that line. Throughout the trailer, we get references back to the game. Hartley's is a clear reference to Chris, whose last name is Hartley. We have Peter Stormare as the clerk, which makes me wonder if he's actually Dr. Hill or if he's just, doing a cameo. Then we have the hourglass, which is obviously a reference to the game's cover art. The missing posters on the wall have miners on them, which might be calling back to the role of the miners in the original game. The first killer shown has a mask reminiscent of the game's killer. The old lady thing that attacks the main character puts a mask over her mouth, kind of in the way that the killer can put one over Sam's face when he's knocking her out in the game. And then, of course, right before the title card hits at the end, we get a look at famed horror YouTuber Wendigoon. Yeah, so, choices have been made. Listen, I was never under the impression that an Until Dawn movie was going to be a one-for-one adaptation of the game. I'm not that much of a nitpick. The game itself is cinematic enough on its own. I expected them to divert from the plot at least a little bit. But you change the actors, change the names, change the setting, change the aesthetic, and then just pulled a handful of references from the game to put in the movie. This isn't Until Dawn. I can't even argue that it's a spiritual successor, because we had that in The Quarry. It just seems to be a regular-ass horror movie using Until Dawn's name to get attention from the fan base, which is annoying. I'll still probably end up watching it out of curiosity to see if maybe there's a little more to it than I think, but I ultimately don't think it's going to be that good of a movie, and I don't think it's going to hold a candle to the game.